Something is happening on April 2nd, and it has already begun. Right now, before you even finish watching this, a rare and ancient alignment is moving through you. The Sun and Chiron are converging in the sky, forming a conjunction that touches the deepest wound you carry, the one tied to who you believe you are. This is not a coincidence. You were drawn to this video for a reason. What you have been feeling lately, the unease, the sensitivity, the strange sense that something is about to shift, that is not random. That is the cosmos speaking directly to you. There is something keeping you awake at night. Not worry, exactly. Not the kind of restlessness that comes from a problem you can name or a task you forgot to complete. This is something quieter than that, and somehow more unsettling. You lie down and your body feels tired, genuinely exhausted in a way that goes beyond the physical. But your mind will not still itself. Your eyes open in the darkness and you find yourself staring at the ceiling, at nothing, at everything. And you do not know why. You may have woken at an unusual hour, perhaps in the early morning, somewhere between 2 and 4, in that strange corridor of time that mystics have long called the hour of the veil. And in that waking, you felt something. Not fear exactly, something closer to anticipation. As though a part of you knew something your waking mind had not yet been told. This is not insomnia. This is not anxiety. This is your soul refusing to stay unconscious during one of the most energetically charged periods of your lifetime. The body has an intelligence that the mind often dismisses. It responds to frequencies the human eye cannot see, and the rational thought cannot categorize. Right now, in the days surrounding April 2nd, the energetic field of this planet is being saturated by the light of a Sun and Chiron conjunction. A meeting of the life force itself with the asteroid that governs your deepest identity wound. Your nervous system feels this. Your cells feel this. And so does the part of you that sleeps, or in this case, refuses to. Sleep is where integration happens. It is where the soul processes what the waking self cannot yet hold. And right now, there is too much arriving, too much being unlocked. The energetic downloads pouring into your field during this conjunction are vast, and they are personal. They are not arriving for everyone. They are arriving for those who are ready, for those who have been doing the inner work, consciously or not, for those whose wound has been waiting long enough for its moment of transformation. You are one of those people. That is why you are here. The disruption of your sleep is not a malfunction. It is a sign of your sensitivity. The more attuned you are, the more your body acts as an antenna, receiving, processing, and reorganizing at a level far beneath your conscious awareness. You are not broken. You are being recalibrated. While think back to the last time you felt this particular kind of sleeplessness. Chances are it preceded something significant, a turning point, a realization, a moment that divided your life into before and after. That same feeling is here again now, wearing the same quiet, relentless presence in the dark hours of the night. Because something is coming, something that requires you to be prepared at the level of the soul, not just the mind. April 2nd carries the energy of a threshold, and the night before a threshold, truly before any great crossing, the soul does not sleep. It watches. It listens. It readies itself for what is on the other side of the door. So tonight, if you find yourself awake in the dark again, do not reach for your phone. Do not distract yourself back into numbness. Simply breathe. Place your hand over your heart and allow yourself to feel the quiet enormity of what is moving through you. Because what is keeping you awake right now is not something to escape. It is something to receive. You have been carrying something heavy and you cannot explain what it is. It is not sadness, not exactly. It is not grief in the way that grief is usually understood, with a clear source and a clear reason. This is something more diffuse than that, more atmospheric. It sits in your chest like a stone that has no name. It slows your movements without your permission. It makes the simplest tasks feel like they require more energy than you have available. You may have found yourself staring at something ordinary, a cup, a window, the middle distance, and feeling an ache you could not trace back to anything specific. You may have pulled away from people you love, not because you are angry with them, but because being around anyone right now feels like too much, like your skin has become thinner, like the world has become louder, like you need a silence that the outside world simply cannot provide. You are not falling apart. You are falling open. What you are feeling right now is the sensation of deep, energetic work happening beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. The Sun and Chiron conjunction approaching on April 2nd is not a gentle transit. Chiron is known in the ancient language of the cosmos as the wounded healer. It is the celestial body that governs the wound you have carried the longest, the one that was formed early, perhaps in childhood, perhaps even before this lifetime. The wound that shaped the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. When the sun, the great illuminator, the source of all light and identity, moves into exact conjunction with Chiron, it shines its full and unrelenting light directly into that wound, not to destroy you, but to finally let you see it clearly. And seeing a wound clearly for the first time without the protective layers of denial or distraction or performance, that is not a comfortable experience. It is, in fact, one of the heaviest feelings a human being can move through, because it requires you to acknowledge something you have spent years, perhaps decades, learning to live around. The heaviness you are feeling is not depression. It is the weight of truth rising. Your soul knows what is coming. It has been preparing for this moment longer than your mind realizes. And in that preparation, it is surfacing everything that needs to be felt, acknowledged, and released before the door of April 2nd swings fully open. The emotional weight you are carrying right now is not a burden being placed upon you. It is a burden being lifted from you, slowly, carefully, with a precision of cosmic timing that has been building toward this exact moment in your life. The withdrawal you feel from others is also significant. When the soul is in deep process, it naturally draws inward. It creates a kind of sacred solitude, not isolation born from pain, but a pulling back that is instinctive and necessary, like an animal that retreats to a quiet place before a great change in its body. You are not withdrawing because you are broken. You are withdrawing because you are becoming. And becoming requires space that the noise of ordinary life cannot hold. There is an old truth that those who walk a spiritual path know deeply. Healing does not always feel like healing when it is happening. Sometimes it feels like heaviness. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like a weight you cannot name pressing gently but firmly on the center of your chest, asking you to stop, to feel, to allow. That weight you are carrying right now is not here to stay. It is here to say goodbye. Something from the past has found its way back to the surface. Not dramatically, not in the way of a crisis or a confrontation. It arrives more quietly than that. A memory you had not thought of in years suddenly appears in your mind, with a vividness that surprises you. A face from your past drifts into your thoughts, unbidden. An old feeling, one you thought you had long since moved beyond, returns with a familiarity that is almost uncomfortable, like running into someone you used to know in a place you did not expect to see them. You may have found yourself thinking about a younger version of yourself lately, about a moment when something shifted, about a time when you made a decision, or a decision was made for you, that quietly altered the entire trajectory of who you became. And you may have wondered, with a tenderness or a sorrow you did not anticipate, why that memory is here now after all this time. It is here because it was always meant to return at exactly this moment. Chiron does not work randomly. Nothing in the cosmos does. The asteroid of the wounded healer moves with extraordinary precision, and its conjunction with the sun on April 2nd is activating a very specific layer of your energetic field. the layer where your oldest and most defining wound lives. And that wound has a story. It has a beginning. It has a cast of characters and a location and a feeling that imprinted itself onto your nervous system so early, so deeply, that it eventually stopped feeling like a wound at all. It began to feel like simply the way things are, like the truth of who you are, like the ceiling of what is possible for you. Those memories surfacing now are not accidents of the mind. They are the wound, recognizing the light that is finally being shone upon it. They are the past, rising not to haunt you, but to be witnessed, because a wound that has never been truly witnessed cannot truly heal. And you have carried this one in the dark for a very long time. There is something profound happening in the act of remembering right now. When a memory returns during a powerful energetic transit, it returns transformed. It carries with it not just the original feeling, but a new layer of understanding that was not available to you when you first lived through it. You are not the same person you were when that wound was first created. You have grown, suffered, learned, and expanded in ways that the younger version of you could not have imagined. And now, with the light of this conjunction illuminating what was hidden, you are being given the extraordinary gift of seeing your own story with new eyes. This is what Chiron offers at its most powerful. Not the reopening of a wound for the sake of pain, but the reopening of a wound for the sake of completion. The memories that are rising now are the final pieces of a puzzle your soul has been assembling for years. Each one carries information. Each one holds a fragment of understanding that, when finally integrated, will free you from a story you were never meant to carry forever. You may feel a strange mixture of emotions as these memories surface. Grief and relief arriving together. Sorrow wrapped around something that feels almost like gratitude. That mixture is not confusion. It is the feeling of genuine healing, messy and non-linear, and deeply, irrevocably real. Do not push these memories away. Do not apologize for the tears they may bring. Do not tell yourself that you should be over this by now. You are not revisiting the past. You are finally finishing it. There is a feeling living just beneath your skin that you cannot quite settle into. It is not fear, though it carries some of fear's texture. It is not excitement, though it holds some of excitement's electricity. It exists somewhere between the two. In that unnamed space, where the body knows something enormous is approaching but the mind has not yet found the words to contain it. You may have noticed it in small moments, a sudden stillness that falls over you in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, a sensation of standing at the edge of something vast and invisible, a feeling that the life you have been living, the patterns you have been repeating, the identity you have been wearing like a familiar coat is somehow no longer the right size. Not because anything visible has changed, but because something inside you has already moved, already shifted, already stepped forward into a space your outer life has not yet caught up with. You are not imagining this. You are perceiving it. What you are feeling is the energetic signature of a threshold, and thresholds have their own particular feeling, unmistakable once you have learned to recognize it. They carry a pressure that is both internal and atmospheric. A compression of time, as though the past and the future are pressing toward each other and the present moment is the only place left to stand. This is precisely what the Sun and Chiron conjunction on April 2nd is creating in your energetic field. A threshold, a doorway, a point of no return that is not terrifying, but is irrevocable. Because once the light of the sun fully illuminates your deepest identity wound, once you have truly seen it, you cannot unsee it. And that seeing changes everything. The sensation of standing on the edge of something enormous is your soul's way of preparing you for what is coming. It is not warning you away from the threshold. It is orienting you toward it. The part of you that is spiritually aware. The part that has always known there was something more, something deeper, something truer, waiting for you on the other side of the story you have been telling about yourself. That part is leaning forward right now. It can feel the opening. It can sense the shift in the energetic atmosphere. the way certain animals sense a change in weather long before the clouds arrive. And beneath the unnamed feeling of standing at the edge, there is something else, something quieter. A knowing that has no logical foundation but feels more solid than anything your rational mind has ever constructed. A knowing that this time is different, that what is approaching is not another cycle of the same lesson wearing a different face, that the pattern you have lived inside for so long, the one shaped by your wound, reinforced by your fear, and mistaken for your identity, is genuinely, finally, coming to its end. That knowing is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual perception, and it is one of the clearest signs that you are among those for whom this conjunction is not simply an astronomical event, but a deeply personal and long-awaited turning point. Not everyone will feel April 2nd this way. Not everyone is ready. But you are here, feeling what you are feeling, carrying what you have carried, standing at the edge of what you are standing at the edge of, because your soul has been preparing for this crossing for longer than you know. The enormity you feel approaching is real. The electricity beneath your skin is real. The sense that your life is reorganizing itself around a truth you have not yet fully spoken aloud, that is real. You are not on the edge of falling. You are on the edge of flight. There is a conversation coming, and some part of you already knows it. You may not know who it is with. You may not know the words that will be spoken or the exact moment it will arrive. But there is a quiet awareness living somewhere beneath your thoughts, beneath the heaviness and the restlessness and the memories and the unnamed electricity of these last few days, that something is about to be said. Something is about to be heard. A truth that has been circling you for years, orbiting just outside the boundary of what you have allowed yourself to fully receive, is preparing to land. And when it does, you will recognize it immediately. Not because it is new, but because it is the thing you have always known and never quite let yourself believe. This is the final gift of the Sun and Chiron conjunction on April 2nd. Chiron governs the wound, yes, but it also governs the healing. And the healing, when it finally arrives, does not always come in the form of a vision or a revelation that descends from the sky. More often, it comes through the ordinary miracle of human exchange, a sentence spoken by someone who sees you clearly, a question asked at exactly the right moment that cracks something open you did not know was still closed, a realization that arrives mid-conversation, not because the other person gave it to you, but because something in the energy of true connection created the conditions for you to finally give it to yourself. That is how Chiron heals, not through grand gestures, but through precise and tender moments of truth. The conversation that is coming for you on or around April 2nd may feel ordinary from the outside. It may happen over something as simple as a shared meal or a phone call or a few words exchanged in a quiet room. But do not be deceived by its simplicity. The most transformative moments of a human life rarely announce themselves with drama. They arrive softly, almost gently, and it is only afterward, sometimes hours later, sometimes in the stillness before sleep, that you realize something fundamental has changed, that a door you had stopped believing would ever open has swung wide, that a cage you had learned to call home has simply, quietly, disappeared. You have been in that cage for a long time. You know its dimensions without having to measure them. You know exactly how far you can move before the old fear returns. While you know the particular weight of the story you have been telling yourself about who you are and what you are allowed to have and how much love and freedom and expansion you are permitted to receive, that story was not born in malice. It was born in a wound that formed at a time when you did not have the tools or the support or the understanding to process what was happening to you. And so you built a shelter around it and called the shelter your identity. But you have outgrown that shelter now. You have outgrown it so completely that it no longer protects you. It only limits you. And the cosmos, in its extraordinary and precise intelligence, has been building toward this moment of outgrowing for longer than you realize. Every transit, every difficult season, knows every night of sleeplessness and every surfacing memory, and every moment of standing at the edge of something enormous has been part of the preparation for what is arriving now. So when the conversation comes, be present for it. Be honest in it. Allow it to go deeper than you planned. Allow yourself to say the thing you have been carrying silently. Allow yourself to hear the thing your soul has been waiting to receive. Because the words that will be exchanged in that moment are not just words. They are the key. And you have always deserved to be free.